welcome to another episode of Remotely Renee. I'm excited. We've reached double digits in the episode area, and today is February 2nd, so it's officially Black History Month. And I know a lot of people have mixed feelings about Black History Month. We shouldn't have one month. I know we should have a lot of months. It should be infused in our history, but I'm just one of those people that I'm just going to celebrate everything. So I'm celebrating Black History Month, and I'm excited about it. I also wanted to mention that I'm extremely excited today. Oh, actually, let me welcome in my two lit crew real quick. We got my Snooka Booka, which is my mom. We got my manager Paul Garino, and we got my big sister, literally blood sister, Nicole Young. We got my two lit crew here with me, and I'm excited today because I got the call that I've been wanting to get for a long time. That call was that my Snook and Diddy got their shots. So my Snook and Diddy have now been vaccinated. They got the Pfizer shot. So they got the first one, and now we're on call waiting on the second one, but now they're on the list. So I'm super excited about that. Snook, how did you feel when you got that call? Like, what? Actually, tell us how it all went down, because this was an adventure.
Well, for weeks, we have been trying to call all of the various lines and contact points for registration without any success. I mean, one day I called one of the numbers 128 times in a row and never got through. And so it was very frustrating. And this is happening all over the country. You hear it on the news. People cannot get through to get registered. So on my birthday, January the 23rd, we were getting ready to go out and to do some drive-bys and wave at people to say hey, and then head to Red Lobster for dinner. And we got a call from our assistant pastor telling us to get up to our Civic Center, which is a very large event place in Charleston, which is about 20 miles away. They said, get up there because they have walk-ins available. So we got the call at 4:12, and at 4:35, I was walking into the city.
And so she wasn't just walking. I mean, she was
on a hop.
Yeah, she was moving, boy. She said she was passing people that was walking slow. And then what happened, Snook?
Got in the door, and they said, we're getting ready to cut it off. And I said, oh no, not before me, because I know you need minorities up here, and I'm a minority, as if you can tell. And the man said, go ahead. And so the fourth person after me, they stopped taking walk-ins. So I was very blessed, my husband and I, to be able to get our first shot of Pfizer.
Amazing. So we're
no
feeling really
side effects, no problems, no nothing.
No, nothing. Okay. I'm excited just because, our parents are in the high risk age. So I've been waiting on them to get that shot. So now we're on cue. My other sister she's already gotten both of hers. Shay is like fully vaccinated at the 95 percentile. So she's there. Now we got my parents. So I'm like feeling really, really good about that. Something else I wanted to bring up is WNBA free agency is litty. I don't know if you guys have been keeping track, but I wrote it down to make sure I didn't miss anything because there's been a lot of moves made. Candace Parker going back home to Chicago, leaving LA. That one was a big one that shocked the world. I saw Kayla McBride, Natalie Achonwa, and Ariel Powers will be heading to Minnesota. They're racking up. That's why I have this photo here, because this is me in Minnesota when we used to turn up before the games. Minnesota really killed it in free agency, getting those three. And it's not even, technically it hasn't even started yet. Free agency starts. Well, actually it just started yesterday, but who else? Oh, Chelsea Gray is going to Las Vegas. Cheyenne Parker heading to Atlanta. Lainey going to New York. And I'm hearing Chef Park is heading towards the Washington Mystics, leaving Seattle, where she's been there forever. Brittany Sykes, Slime, is staying with LA. Jasmine Thomas is staying with Connecticut. They are Alyssa Thomas suffered an Achilles injury, so she's not going to be able to play this year. But man, like, what stands out to y'all most about like the free agency moves so far? Anything? I mean, obviously Candace Parker leaving LA is a big deal because now they're pretty stacked. What like anything stand out to y'all? Paul, I know you've been in the thick of things. What were you most surprised about?
Yeah, I mean the Candace Parker one, obviously. But I mean, people were saying rumors that she'd go home, so she went home.
I was thinking that. I don't know why I wasn't like super shocked. Probably because the rumor bug was already flying around so early that like by the time it happened, I'm not gonna lie. One that like really surprised me is Alicia Clark. She's a big part of Seattle. Like she's just one of those players that the glue players that maybe on the stat sheet it might not be like huge, but she's huge. I think that one was like I thought she was a part of the Seattle fabric, and that was like a player that they would not let go. But that one shocked me the most. Anything, Snook, Cole, anything stick out to y'all?
Well,
I mean,
sometimes mentioning Alyssa Clark, although she was a big part of their fabric per se, sometimes players just don't think they get the recognition they have, especially when you have some other people who are getting, maybe they feel a lot more recognition, so they want to go somewhere else where they can really make an impact, so their name rises, you know, rises a little bit more.
Yeah, I could feel that. I could understand that. That's kind of, honestly, somebody just did that recently. I can't remember on the NBA side, but we were just talking about it covering the Hawks. Cole, what about you?
I mean, I just think Parker probably,
Yeah.
she wanted to return home. I mean, she wants to finish out her career at home because that's probably where she's going to be when she's finished. She probably wants to be back, around family and just go back home. So I feel like that was a move like a lot of players do who've been somewhere and they just want to go back home so they can just
Yeah.
enjoy the rest of their the rest of their career and be around family and let family be able to see them, especially since it's pandemic. It's probably been really hard. She's here and her parents, and I know they're close, so just that dynamic itself too. So just getting closer and finishing out her career, her babies are going to be there with, what I'm saying. So I think that's what's
Yeah,
gonna.
family. I'm coming home. I'm
Yes.
coming home. Tell the world that I'm coming home. Yeah,
Yep.
that's lit. I mean, I came to Atlanta. I've had a house here for 9 years and I just came 3 years ago. So it's dope. Like it's dope. I literally leaving Minnesota. That's why I have it up here. Leaving Minnesota was so hard because Minnesota offers you everything that you would ever want when it comes to basketball, the program and what they, the facility, the treatment. But I had to go home. So I came home and I ain't mad at nobody. I'm gonna say this right now. All this free agency stuff is so good for women's basketball in a sense of people are talking about the trades, people are talking about the moves. There's momentum going into the season. People want to see, ooh, how is Chicago going to look now? They have the Vander Quigs, they have Diamond the Shields, they have Candace now. And then it's like, oh, not to mention Vegas, Elizabeth Cambage is coming back, and Chelsea Gray is now their point guard. They were already stacked with Angel McCautry and all the other pieces they have. So that builds momentum. I'm here for it, and I'm always going to be here for players choosing their own destination. I had 1 week subscription to Showtime. They give you that free week of just subscription. So I took it. And in that week, I was like, I want to finish this show. What show? Billions. There's 5 seasons of Billions. So I had 1 week to do it. And guess who just finished Billions within 1 week? Me. And I highly, highly, highly recommend it. My VP, Paul, he's Wags. Anybody that knows the show, he is so my Wags. And it made me so excited because I do have a Wags and everybody needs a Wags. And Paul is my Wags. He hasn't seen it, so he needs to see it. But there's a lot of shady business going on. But for me, what was crazy is if you've been hiding under a rock, you don't know about this, but GameStop. All right, so GameStop, basically, their shares jumped 138% in 1 day. And then as a total for the year, 1,900% up. Like a stock that's 1,900% up. If you bought in at $1 and it's 1,900% up, you're making a killing. There's people, so the spike, if you don't know what's going on with this, is really crazy. So there was a spike that occurred after reports that emerged that short sellers, including Melvin Capital and Citron, had largely covered their position. The new Mets owner, Steve Cohen, with 0.72, was a part of that $2.75 billion investment on to help Melvin cover the shorts. Do you guys know what that means? I didn't either. Y'all know what that means? Well, shoot, I didn't know what none of this meant. So I saw talks of where people had invested 3 months ago, invested $50,000, and they're in the $22 million range. Like people literally,
Yourself.
People literally cashed out on this. And I'm going to tell you right now, where are my real friends? Why didn't y'all? Nobody told me about this. I would have loved to put in a couple hundred. I would have loved to put in some coins on this because I saw people like a Darius Butler who was just on the pod. He cashed out. Where are my real friends? Y'all need to tell me when stuff like this is happening. That's business. And this was like, and people are mad, by the way, people being the company that went bankrupt because of this. They're mad because this was like the community that did this. This wasn't a one company. This was just regular citizens that saw what was happening and just hopped in on it. Amazing. If this ever happens again and we're going to do this, can y'all tell the Too Lit crew we want to make some coins too? Sorry, that's how I had to start Scoreboard because there was a lot going on with this GameStop stuff. And I just finished watching Billions. So I felt like, I feel like I'm in that world now. When you watch a TV show, you feel like that. And I was like, in real life, this is happening. Okay, I'm done. Paul, what do you have for Scoreboard today?
I don't know what kind of free subscription you got, but I just did it and it was for 30 days.
Oh, maybe I did get that one. I don't know, but I finished it in a week.
To find out because I'm gonna watch my life away on that.
Please do. You better get that. I'm telling you, it's
this free week. Let me know.
It's so good. And then I just shouts to my masseuse Magic Mike. Thank you so much for the free subscription to HBO Max. Anybody else got subscriptions to anything else like Showtime and all of that? I'm always available to sign in from y'all's account. Thank you.
All right. So yeah, that's why Renee wasn't paying attention to me that much this week because she was watching Billions.
I was obsessed with Billions.
All right. So let me see. We'll start with the Super Bowl since we're Super Bowl week. How about the Shaq Bowl? He's doing some virtual games with celebrities, and I saw who's up there. And you already know I'm back with Team Tampa Bay because Nelly's on it.
Oh my gosh! Tell us about it.
Nelly's on it. That's all you need to know.
He's all he needs to know.
Nelly. Paul is like the number one Nelly fan.
All right. So on Nelly's team, it's like on Nelly's team, it's Anthony Anderson, Tim Tebow, Offset, Winnie Harlow. And then Team Kansas City is Diplo, Ezekiel Elliott, Olivia, I don't know, Quavo, Steve-O, and The Miz.
Yeah. And so basically we covered this on TMZ Sports. So basically what Shaq said is he doesn't want to hurt anybody's feelings, but the shows that come on before the Super Bowl are boring. Nobody wants to watch them. We're over it. It's repetitive. You've already been talking about the Super Bowl for 2 weeks at that point. So the shows leading up to the Super Bowl, there's not much more you can say. So from 3 to 6 on Super Bowl day, right before the Super Bowl comes on, he's going head to head with CBS, which has a multi-million-dollar show that they produce for pre-Super Bowl, and Shaq is doing a Shaq Bowl. He rented out an arena 10 minutes away from the Super Bowl arena in Florida, and that's where he's going to host his Shaq Bowl. He's hosting it alongside. He's going to have Ocho Cinco hosting with him at a certain point. Terrell Owens hosting with him at a certain point. He said it's going to be, huh?
I said T.O.
It's on all the web platform. It's like on Facebook Live, YouTube Live, Twitch. It also says TikTok on here too.
They're streaming. Oh yeah. So it's a hybrid event. And so if people don't know what that is, you better get really used to that because it's going to be kind of probably the norm for a little while. A hybrid event is the talent will be in the arena that Shaq rented out, but there will be no live fans. Everything will be streamed straight to millions of fans, but there just won't be the live fan effect. That's going to be really common for a lot of events because that's all that people can pretty much do. So he's streaming everything live on all the platforms that you can get. And honestly, I know that CBS got to be a little bit worried. Like,
be hot.
Yeah, CBS. Like, what do y'all think about the Shaq Bowl? Like, do you think, and they're going to be playing games? He said it's going to be like fun games. It's going to be like, I don't even know what else is going to be happening, but he said it's going to be turned.
It says restaurant battles on the little poster, so I don't know what that means.
Like, what does that even mean?
Maybe
I think I know what it means.
Trying foods.
What?
Food.
I think I think they're going to be like making dishes, and then like it's going to be probably like celebrity chef type stuff where they're like, you have to make this. It's got to be at a certain time. That'll be like one event. Then you have another event where they might be doing. I think it's going to be really, really fun to watch. And I think that's going to be the problem for CBS is that the younger generation are going to be tuned in to, even if it's not that good, just the stars and just the silliness and Shaq and all the joking and all that stuff. That's going to draw a bigger crowd than people watching the CBS TV shows before, because I don't know.
Exactly.
I don't even know.
You know, Nelly's always in the All-Star games, like the NBA one, the MLB. So like the Super Bowl, why not?
Yeah.
Why not? What do you think about this Shaq Bowl, Snookabuka?
Oh, I think it's wonderful. I mean, you know, anytime you have someone who has a lot of personality like Shaq, regardless of what it is, he's going to bring it and you'll enjoy it because it'll be so entertaining. So
I agree.
And
I don't know why. I don't know why Shaq didn't invite Renee.
I still think I'll enjoy it. So.
Okay, I agree. And I think the thing that's going to be interesting is, like, I don't even know if it's like, I'm sure there's going to be a football theme to it, but I don't even know if it's like necessarily football themed. Like maybe they'll make like the food, the shapes of a football, but I think that's actually going to work in his favor because not everybody really cares. Like, you know, a lot of people watch the Super Bowl for the advertisements. Like, you know, like they watch for the Super Bowl commercials. They watch for the halftime show, which, by the way, Amanda, the poet, I'm just going to call her Amanda, the poet, the 22-year-old poet that performed at the inauguration. She'll be performing a poem at Super Bowl, by the way. So,
and she also just got picked up by IMG for modeling.
Yes, she did.
Come on, Amanda, as she should. The bone structure was there on point. The skin was glowing and gorgeous on point. Yes, I love that. What else, Paul?
And before we leave that, we might also say, I was thinking about that food thing. It might be more so, what do you want to eat during the Super Bowl? What would you like to have rather than a normal type of things? What are you going to cook up? So that would be something that would be interesting to people.
Super Bowl appetizer dishes and different things like that.
And Budweiser and them have pulled their ads. So a lot of people are not happy about the fact, you know, a lot of people watch the Super Bowl to see the Budweiser ads because, you know, you got the horses and all that. There's a lot of big ones who said, we're just not going to do it this year. So
listen, you remember the Budweiser? Or was I like you know,
but they're donating the money. They're donating the money to the COVID relief.
To COVID relief.
Which is a good thing. But I'm saying if you were talking about Super Bowl commercials being a thing you're watching, those are some big ones that are pulling out. So
absolutely. No, you're right, Cole. That's absolutely right. What else you got, Paul?
Oh, on the restaurant thing, it might be some kind of pizzas because Papa John's is a partner and owns Papa John's.
And Corona is a sponsor, so I'm sure there's going to be lots of beer places.
Maybe they'll be doing some drinking games. So that'll be pretty funny.
Oh, that would be amazing. Shaq, I just feel like Shaq knows how to have fun. Like you can just tell. So I feel like his ideas, at the very minimum, they're going to be fun.
And he needs to bring Big Barkley with him too. Because they're the dynamic duo. The dynamic duo of comedy is them two going back and forth at each other.
I will watch Charles Barkley do anything. I don't care what it is. If he does a cooking class, I'm watching that. If he's going to teach me how to sew, I want to see Charles Barkley teach me how to sew.
There you go.
Golf, anything that Charles Barkley does. If he's golfing, I want to see it. I want to see it all. So yeah,
I want to see Charles Barkley versus Shaq, who could drink beer the fastest.
Oh, like chug, like a chugging contest. Like, hello.
I'm telling you, them two, anything could go.
Anything.
All right. So, the next one is Naomi Osaka bought the North Carolina Courage of the National Women's Soccer League.
Oh.
Yes, Naomi, you did that, girl. Okay, because a lot of people are talking about why aren't women investing in women, and it's a very valid question because you see, women investing in women. When you see men with money, that's the first thing they want to do. They want to buy a team to get that status, like I'm a team owner. In the NFL, you can't even get in that club. I remember when P. Diddy, Steph Curry, all of them were trying to get ownership into the NFL. You can't even get in there, even if you have the money. So oh Lord, there's a certain level of status that comes along with owning a team. And I want that type of culture to be on the women's side of sports. Like I love that Naomi, just her even buying into ownership of the North Carolina team. That, look, it's all over everything. We covered it on our show, TMZ Sports. It's on everything. People probably didn't even know that the team that she became an owner of is like a dynasty. They win every year. They've been killing it. Now they know, because when they saw that she's buying in, they're like, well, what team is this in the NWSL? So yeah, what do you got, Snookabuka?
And also, I believe she's going to be one of the new front people for Louis Vuitton.
Ooh, you heard right, Virgil. Virgil snagged her right up. First of all, she's the highest paid female athlete, and we love to see it. She's killing it. And I like that I like the blueprint that she has, basically. Like, she's like, all right, I got me a couple coins. Let me drop a little bit, invest it back into women. Let me do a little bit of philanthropy. And she's doing her thing on that note. She's getting into she's into gaming. She's now into fashion with Louis Vuitton. Girl, you better. Okay. Cole, what you think about this?
There's nothing bad to say. I mean, it says it all. Like you said, it's a blueprint. She's just, I mean, she's doing everything right. That's all you can say. And, you know,
and she's so young.
And she's young, because I think, like we know now, these kids have more access to learning about these things than we had. We learn from books. They learn from the internet. There's literally a YouTube or how to do on any and everything that you want to do. So just like you said, you can go on and find out about stock. Like, oh, I didn't know that. There's so many platforms for stock building, you know, so it's like they had so much more access to figure it out a lot faster than we did, which is excellent. I think it's awesome. I'm gonna sit here and watch it all unfold and enjoy it.
Hello, somebody. Absolutely. I agree. It's like, her status alone, her just even saying that she's a part of the NWSL, it does numbers for them. And so I want people to start doing that with the WNBA. I want this culture to shift to where it's dope to invest in women, and people are fighting over it. It needs to get to like the NFL, where you can't even get a spot even if you got the money. Love it. What you got else? What else you got, Paul?
The Braves created a Hank Aaron fund to honor him and promote diversity in baseball. MLB and the MLB Players Association both donated $500,000, so $1 million initial funding.
Woo! Okay, so we lost a legend in Hank Aaron. Snookabuka, what you talking about?
I was going to say, aren't they trying to have a petition to change the name of the field, or what was that I read about that?
I think you are correct. They're trying to do a lot. Basically, Hank Aaron is Atlanta, and Hank Aaron just, you know, there's a statue of him outside of the baseball field, and he's like, we lost a legend, you know, and I'm so happy to see, even at, you know, I work for Fox Sports Southeast. We did an unbelievable tribute to him during the game, before the game. There was a whole program before our game even started, and rightfully so, you know. And one thing that people don't realize is the amount of death threats he was on a day-to-day basis, that he was scared for his teammates, he was scared for his family, and he was still performing at that level. Just think about that. He's scared at all times, even on the field, because people said that they were going to shoot him on the field. People were threatening the man's life, and he's out there just like, just like knocking it out the park. So just to put that in perspective of performing while you're under pressure, I mean, he is the epitome of it. And, you know, Dominique Wilkins said that one thing that Hank Aaron told him that stuck with him was that you have to rise above the negativity, you know, like, and so that to me, that's the line there, rise above the negativity, because there's always going to be a baseline of negativity, you know, like they say, if you ain't got haters, you ain't popping. So I guess there's always going to be that baseline level of people that just don't want to see you successful. And just rises above it. So yeah,
he got 900,000 death threats, to be correct.
What?
He had so much hate plus fan mail, but hate mail and fan mail. He had to hire his own secretary to handle all his mail, because he had to turn over all the hate mail to the FBI, and then he had to have a secretary who opened all his fan mail and responded, and he signed autographs and stuff like that. But he literally, the I guess association said, we can't handle what needs to be done with this. We can't do it. So he had to take out his own money and hire his own personal secretary, who worked in the basement of the baseball field. And she was the one in charge of making sure all that, and they counted and kept it. He had it in his attic for all the hate mail, all the family. He said it was 900,000 letters of hate mail.
I can't imagine
And he
that. And you
continued to
know
play.
what?
And he
And you
continued to play.
and he can that's what I was about to say. I think, maybe someone like myself, once we got to 500,000, I might think it's time to hang it up because I don't want anybody to really try. I don't want to put anybody in danger, my teammates, my family. He just went out there fearlessly. So yeah, I love that. So now, losing him, I'm so glad that what he did is being recognized at the magnitude that it should be. They should be donating $1 million to his fund, and we should be remembering him the way we are. So, and speaking of people passing away, I just want to say, Sekou Smith, 48 years young, worked with him at NBA TV on the set of GM School, and he was unbelievable. Like, I picked his ear. I'm one of those people that when I meet people and I see that they know what they're doing, because you can just tell the people that got it together. I ask a lot of questions. Like, I'm asking questions like, okay, so how long you been doing this? What do you do? I'm just asking a lot of questions. And when I tell you, he answered everything and more. Like, he was so willing to help. So we lost Sekou Smith to COVID. I was talking to David Aldridge the other day, and he was just telling me that a lot of people thought that Sekou was going to get over it, that he was almost there to beat it, and they thought he was going to get out of ICU. So that just that makes me even more thankful that my parents had the vaccine, and that we're on the up and up with the new administration, because this stuff is no joke. Like, he was healthy, 48-year-old man, and COVID is that, like Damian Lillard said, COVID has no friends. So tough week. And that's all right, we're gonna move on the happening IRL. And this is, now that I think about it, this is kind of a husky day, because I'm gonna have two UConn football players on here that I met at UConn, obviously, in the athletic world. And so Darius Butler is a guy that I met at UConn, one of those players that, like, had his head on his shoulders, ended up having a 11-year pro career in the NFL, played for the Colts. And now he co-hosts a podcast that's called the Man to Man podcast, and he discusses all things NFL, covers it every week. They even cover the bets, who to bet with. It's Bet with DB. He covers all of that, the lines and different things. So as we know, the Super Bowl is coming up, and I'm like, I need to be talking about the Super Bowl. And of course, I'm going to you, Darius. So Darius, tell me what I need to know about the Super Bowl.
Yo, Darius Butler, Everything DB, co-host of the Man to Man Pod. We'll tell you everything you need to know about this Super Bowl. Super Bowl 55 being played down in Tampa, Florida. Now, the Tampa Bay Bucks will be the first team in NFL history to actually play the Super Bowl in their home stadium. Shocker that it's Tom Brady. His first year away from New England after 20 years of dominance, 9 Super Bowl appearances. Now his 10th will be at home, making more NFL history. Now he'll be playing against Patrick Mahomes and the defending Super Bowl champs, the Kansas City Chiefs. Kansas City Chiefs are the last team to actually hand the Bucks an L this year. Back in Week 12, they whooped up on them, beat the Bucks in the regular season, which was actually the Bucks' last loss of this season. Got all the way to the playoffs, won 3 games on the road. Went into the playoffs as a 5 seed, the Buccaneers did. Won 3 games on the road to ultimately end up back at home hosting their Super Bowl. I mean, that's crazy in itself. Now, on the other side, the Kansas City Chiefs, Patrick Mahomes, his career has been off to, the hottest start that I've ever seen, I know. His first year as a full-time starter, won the regular season MVP, was knocked out of the playoffs in the AFC Championship game by, guess who? Tom Brady, when he was on the New England Patriots. And that was actually Patrick Mahomes' only loss as an NFL pro in the playoffs. So now they meet again in Super Bowl 55, down here in Tampa Bay. You'll have one of the hottest offenses ever with Kansas City Chiefs and the weapons they have. Tyreek Hill, phenomenal wide receiver. You got Travis Kelce, who's putting up record numbers at the tight end position. You just got players and weapons. Obviously, we talked about Patrick Mahomes and the play callers with Eric Bieniemy and Andy Reid. And then the guys on defense who don't get enough credit, who in my opinion, really won that Super Bowl for them last year. They had 3-4 back-to-back stops to continue to get their offense the ball to win that Super Bowl last year, led by Tyrann Mathieu, aka the Honey Badger. Then you got Chris Jones up front. You got Frank Clark up front. You got Dirty Dan Swords. You got Juan Thornhill. I mean, you got playmakers all over that team, and they all came back to pretty much run it back. So that's their goal. They're the favorite right now, the 3-point favorite going in right now. Getting a little closer to the Super Bowl, that could change. Odds could change. The biggest question mark for them is their O-line. They lost one of their best O-linemen with Eric Fisher. He tore his Achilles last week against the Buffalo Bills in the AFC Championship. And that'll be something to worry about when you go over to this other side with the Tampa Bay Bucks, because they have a two-headed monster on defense coming off those edges, starting with JPP and then Shaquille Barrett, who's been a dominant force for these last few years. On the second level of their defense, you got Devin White, Levante David, arguably the best linebacking tandem in the league. And then behind them, you got a young group of guys in the secondary, Carlton Davis, Sean Murphy Bunting, who's got 3 interceptions this postseason, which is pretty much unheard of. A lot of guys don't have 3 interceptions in their postseason career. He's got it all in one postseason. They are down 2 of their starting safeties. Hopefully they can make it back for the Super Bowl, having this extended rest time. But we'll see. Todd Bowles done a phenomenal job with that defense down the stretch. They were able to somehow, some way get a win against the Green Bay Packers, even though Tom Brady didn't have the greatest second half. Threw 3 interceptions in the second half, but found a way to make the plays at the right time. The biggest one that stands out to me is the big play he made down the field to Scotty Miller right before the end of the half. That's what Tom Brady does. He makes the big plays in the big time moment. So you got this team led by Tom Brady, Bruce Arians, the head coach. You got a plethora of weapons as well on this offensive side of the ball. You got Mike Evans. You got Chris Godwin. You got Scotty Miller, who we mentioned before. And then you got Antonio Brown, who came on later in the season, who, as we all know, and if you're not a football fan, Antonio Brown was the pretty much consensus number 1 receiver in the NFL when he was in Pittsburgh, and then some things happened off the field. He made his way back to Tampa Bay, got to the mix, got hot, got banged up early in the playoffs. Hopefully he makes it back into this Super Bowl lineup and just adds to this fireworks. You got Antonio Brown, Scotty Miller, Chris Godwin, Mike Evans, you got Brate, you got Grump, you got Fournette running the ball well, you got Ron Jones running the ball well. I mean, you got weapons all over this field on both sides. It should be an exciting matchup down here in Florida. I'm looking forward to it. You should be looking forward to it as well. Super Bowl 55. I'll be tapping back in. Something must have changed. I'll be tapping back in with you guys when it gets a little closer to the Super Bowl. Thanks for checking me out. Shout out to Renee Montgomery. The UConn homie. Remotely Renee. We here. Everything DB.
All right. So listen, that's like from a professional. He's a professional. We just are the common fans. So what are we thinking about Super Bowl? Cole, what you thinking?
Ooh-wee. I am not a Brady fan. I'm not a Patriots fan by no means, but I will give this man props. Anytime you go from one team that's one of the winningest teams in history, you go to a team that I think it hasn't been there 20 years. Am I right, Paul? Like 20.
Yeah,
almost
like Paul's the computer. Paul, is that right?
18 years. 18
I think they were in the Super Bowl 2000, actually. So, yeah.
Who, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers?
Yeah.
Oh, that's 20 years ago.
Yeah.
That was right. Okay. So when you go from one team that hasn't been there in 20 years and another team that's one of the winningest teams in history, and you pull a team from 20 years with whatever they got, you're taking it with you and you get the Super Bowl, I have to give you props. I hate to do it, but I got to do it. So.
So does that mean that you think Tampa Bay is going to win, or who's your pick?
I want Tampa Bay to win just because they haven't been there. But then again, Kansas City hasn't won one under Mahomes, right?
No, they just won last year.
Oh, they won last year. Oh.
Yeah, they're the reigning.
Right, so I got to go for Tampa Bay. That makes it easy. I got to go for Tampa Bay.
Okay, so Cole's going the underdog, and she doesn't want the back-to-back. Paul, who you got? What you thinking about the Super Bowl?
Yeah, I'm going with Tampa Bay also.
Oh my gosh. Paul's one of those guys that think Tom Brady was born in a manger. He's one of those guys.
No, I didn't. I don't even like Tom Brady.
I feel like you are from a conversation we had where you were
I am a
really
Dolphins fan, so I watched Tom Brady beat the Dolphins forever for my whole life. So I don't like Tom Brady at all.
Woo!
So
But-
what's your prediction then? What you
For
got?
Tom Brady, yeah, but you can't bet against Tom Brady.
Can't. You
can't
You're
can't.
going with Tampa. You're going with Tampa Bay too.
Every year, every time. I mean, he's undefeated in the Super Bowl.
That's a stat. That's a good stat.
Or actually, no, I lied. He's not undefeated. I'm tripping. But he lost to Eli and I forgot the other one.
So he's not undefeated. So he can be beat in the Super Bowl. There's
Yeah, but he can't.
Oh!
I don't know about this one because now his team is so hungry. You know, before he got beat, he had all these great weapons and they knew they were great weapons. And you have these young guys who are so hungry now. And they know.
Shouts to Mike Evans. Shouts to my guy, Mike Evans, man. I want to see him do well. So I like that. Snook, what you got? What you thinking? What you got?
Kansas City, here I come.
Hey! I'm
And
going to Kansas City.
Kansas City, here I come. But basically, I'm with Kansas City because on Sunday mornings I hear it with my pastor who's from Kansas City. And so I'm going with Kansas City with Pastor Polk and Sister Mary. And hopefully they can pull it off again and have back-to-back.
Okay. Snook said, got the drink in me going back to back. Shouts to Reverend and Mrs. Polk. The Kansas City fam. I like that. I like that.
I will say this.
What's that?
This will be a great Super Bowl. We've had some really, really good ones. So this is going to be a really good one. I'm excited because I used to get tired of Brady winning every year he saw. This is actually a good matchup. It's going to be exciting. I'm good. You got
I agree. It's like new school versus old school. Everybody knows Tom Grady. They said like it's like Baby Yoda versus older Yoda. I've never seen the movie, so I don't know what that means, but I kind of get it in a sense of it's like the older GOAT versus Patrick Mahomes is already a GOAT. Like in his young age, I don't care what nobody says. He has GOAT status written all over him. When you get a $500 million contract, GOAT. Okay, that's like unbelievable.
Who you got? Who you got?
Yeah, so y'all gonna make me pick? I thought I was just gonna.
You almost got away with that. Who you had? Who do you have?
I'm going with my snooker booker. I'm going to Kansas City.
Okay.
Kansas City, here I come.
We'll pick this up.
The money running on that game.
What's the money looking like? It's not there yet, by the way. DB, I was talking speaking Butler. So I told Darius, I'm like, yo, why didn't you get us any bets and any like predictions? What's the money line? And he's like, oh, no. That doesn't come out until right before the game. Like that's when you can really make the prediction. You got to see who's healthy, who's practicing, what's hurting them. So all of that goes into it.
Right
so
now it's +3.
So right now it's +3 for who?
Tampa Bay.
Oh,
so they're getting 3.
So me and Snook,
we make money then.
We can make some money, honey. So it's split half and half. Me and Snook are going for Kansas City. Cole and Paul are going with Tampa Bay, and I ain't mad at it. And literally, speaking of football, so you guys, I'm really proud of the conversation that I had, the one-on-one that I had with the Pam Oliver. She's way out of my league in a sense of just class and trailblazers and everything. So I felt like I wanted to ask her anything I could think of, everything I could think of. And would you believe that after we talked, she texted me and said, thank you for that interview. You challenged me. And I'm like, who did? Me? Like I challenged you. And then she went on to talk to me personally about how you'd be surprised at how much people don't prepare for an interview. Like when you're going in to interview someone, like for instance, when a lot of people get my name wrong or say my name wrong, that's happened to me plenty of times. So she just talked about, me being prepared. So I was proud of that. I just had to say that part. But back to Pam, she's a trailblazer. And if you didn't know, she did regular news for 10 years until she broke into the sports world. And it was hard to even get into the sports world then. She was covering murder trials. She was covering climate things. She was covering everything under the sun, knowing she wanted to get in sports. And we all know how hard it is to get into the NFL if you're a person of color, even if you're a coach. management, anything. And we see Mrs. Pam Oliver on the TV screen all the time for the 20 plus years she's been covering the NFL, the playoffs with Fox for on the highest level. So she's a trailblazer in every sense of the word. I was so excited to have her on there. I don't know if any of you guys know, but some heathens on the internet were talking about Auntie Pam, and it was absolutely ridiculous. We addressed that. Check it out. Okay, so I'm here with the pioneer, barrier breaker, Pam Oliver. I can't believe it. I'm so excited. Thank you for joining me here remotely. This is exciting for me because I don't know if people know how amazing that you had, how persevere, like the perseverance, everything you had to do. So I'm just going to start at the very beginning.
Okay.
You grew up military style, moving a lot, changing a lot. What was life growing up like, just with the movement that you had?
Well, I think the most interesting part of it was it just took you to all these places. I mean, more states than I went to countries. You just started over all the time. I was an athlete as well, so it was the toughest part was like leaving your group of people, leaving your clique, and having to start all over again. But looking back on it, Renee, it was such a blessing because it taught me to adapt. I was constantly moving when I started my profession, and I just had the skills and the wherewithal to understand that, you know, you've left something behind, but you're starting something else, and it can be great. And so that was an adjustment at first, but you figure it out. That's part of the lifestyle with military life, and you adapt and get used to it, and sink or swim, really.
No, and the reason I asked that is because you kind of hinted on it. I asked it because once you get used to being uncomfortable, to moving, to adapting, you start to just do that naturally. And did young Pam know that you wanted to be a broadcaster, a journalist? Like, what was young Pam thinking she wanted to be before you turned into the Pam we know now?
Young Pam thought she was going to be Walter Cronkite, and I know you are a little young. And
I am, but I do.
Yeah, but I was a news junkie when I was a kid. Everybody would, you know, be outside playing, and around 6 o'clock, I was in front of the television watching the news. I thought the reporters were just the coolest people. They got to be where all the action was, and just a part of me was just drawn to that. And I wanted to figure out at some point how I could do that. Mom, Dad, how can I do that? And, you know, they were always very supportive. I did the whole, you know, hairbrush in front of the mirror. And Renee, look at this. I was always Pam Oliver, Channel 10 Action News. Now, why Channel 10 Action News? I was like, Channel 10 Action News. That was my sig out at that time. And it was just, to look back on it now, how fortunate I was to know from a very, 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 very early age that that's what I wanted to do. Because I know a lot of young people struggle. They're not sure exactly what their path is, but I was just really fortunate. I knew very early that that is something I think I would love for the rest of my life, and it's been true.
Yeah, so you know, it's kind of the same with me. I was writing my signature like when I was really young, hoping that one day people would want it. Lisa Salters called you the first lady of football. Now, you don't become that without a story behind it. How did you first break into, I would say, the profession? Because you're in a profession that not a lot of women are in. You're in a profession that not a lot of Black women are in. How did you even get your toe in the pond? You know, I know you went from holding the hairbrush. How did you go to holding a real microphone?
Well, at Florida A&M, I was very, very active in trying to get internships and creating things, working on the student newspaper. But my first real job was covering agriculture, which I knew nothing about. It was a job that came up. It paid $15,000. And I said, oh my God, I'm set. I am good. I took that $15,000, girl, and got down the road with it. But it was an opportunity came. It was a challenge. I knew nothing about what I was doing. I didn't know what I was doing at that point. And it was my first job out of college. And that was the beginning. I just worked very long hours. I stayed in the newsroom from morning till night. I was constantly editing and writing and trying to figure out how to basically hone your skills to where you can develop in your craft. And I was very kind of pragmatic about how I looked at it. I always broke things down into elements. Okay, work on your live stuff, work on your writing, work on interviewing, and work on listening to people when they talk. So that's kind of how I started. And then it just went from there. I went to Huntsville, Alabama to cover space and science again, something I knew nothing about, but you know what?
It was a job.
You figure it out. Sorry, that was my phone. But yeah, and then it was on to, where'd I go? Buffalo, New York, where I was the night beat reporter. Again, covered murder trials and court cases. And
what was that like? Were you ever, because when you hear murder trials and you're covered it, we've all seen the movies and different things. So what was that like? I mean, you start out in science but you moved to murder trials. How was that?
It was very upsetting. It doesn't seem real, but you're in these, these are real circumstances, and you're figuring out how to cover a court case. The prosecution goes and the defense goes, and expert witnesses, and figuring out who's got momentum going into, the verdict and all of that. But at that point, I broke it down. It's like, how do you do this? Let's do this part. Let's do this part. And pretty much it became second nature. Just covering these court cases was traumatic. And you go home after leaving from doing the 11 o'clock news, getting home at 1 o'clock in the morning. You're just sort of looking around, looking under your bed.
Yeah,
You're seriously looking around. And but I do just remember that it was a traumatic, because these are human beings. And I thought at that point, that's when I kind of started to get disillusioned about covering news. I knew that I wanted to be a sports reporter, but no opportunities came up, Renee. I mean, zero.
That's what I was going to ask.
Going from place to place, I'll volunteer, I'll do this on my weekend, and door shut. There were no takers.
No options.
As far as that went. No takers.
She's a living legend. And I say that like it wasn't easy, as you heard from her story. And check out the rest of, you have to check out that full interview. It was amazing. She was amazing. Thank you, Miss Pam. Okay. And shame on you heathens in the internet. Okay. So I'm really looking forward to Snook's history lessons. Snook was a professor. If you guys didn't know that, shame on you. Have you been watching the show? My Snook is like the professor of professors to me. But it's Black History Month, so I told her, teach us a little something. Y'all are gonna get educated whether you like it or not. Snookabuka, what you got for me?
Okay, since we're going into Black History Month this month, I'd like to kind of do an introduction about Black history. And one of my real big pet peeves is that Black history is not included in the regular American history books that all students have to take while they are in public school, before 12th grade and down. I mean, I just don't think it's right that they extract Black history from it. And then if you want to learn, you have to take that as a side class, which many students won't do it. So you're kind of creating a population that doesn't know anything about the real history of the country, because Black history is not included. So you just think about it. It's been 400 years since the first Blacks landed in America. It's been 150 years since the Emancipation Proclamation, and we have not made any progress in getting that achieved. Now, I know when I was in school, I took Black history, and I went to school a long time ago. And I know Renee probably took it, and maybe Nikki also probably took Black history in school. And if you're a minority and you're taking it, it makes you feel kind of funny, taking that class and not being inclusive. You're exclusive instead of inclusive. But anyway, Black history began as Negro History Week back in 1926. And it was instituted by Carter G. Woodson. And we'll talk a little bit more about him and some of the upcoming episodes during this Black History Month. In 1969, the Kent State Black Student Union decided that something needed to be celebrated about Black history. So they did a celebration and proposed that they have a Black History Month. So they celebrated it first in 1970. And then in 1976, Gerald R. Ford made it a national annual holiday, the recognition for Black History Month.
Okay.
So February was chosen because Abraham Lincoln was born in February, and also Frederick Douglass, and they felt those were two big people who were really prominent in Black history.
I
So
did
that's
not know
why they
that.
chose the month of February. I always said they chose it because it was the shortest month. They wanted
Snook.
but anyway, that's when February was chosen. And so it's just a way of showing the recognition and the things that Black Americans have done for this country. Now, one thing I did find out in my research that it's not only celebrated in the United States, but it's celebrated in Canada, the United Kingdom, and
Canada.
So that's kind of interesting.
What was the last one? I missed it.
The Netherlands.
Okay.
So it's not only celebrated here in the United States, but also in those places. So every year there's a theme, and last year's theme was voting, if you probably figured that out. So they wanted to recognize the long and ongoing struggle to exercise rights as citizens, including voting, testifying in court, and participating in juries. So that's one of the initiatives for last year's Black History Month. This year in 2021, the theme is the Black family. And so I want to read this. So it's representation, identity, and diversity is the theme. The Black family has been a topic of study in many disciplines: history, literature, visual arts and film, sociology, anthropology, and social policy. So in the upcoming weeks, I'll try to hit on some of those things. So next week, I don't know if that'll be the Valentine's Day week or not. I'm going to share a story about one of West Virginia's greatest love stories. You don't really want to miss that. It's really a big.
Okay, Snook with the teaser.
And it's not about me and Diddy. It's another one. And then we're going to go into West Virginia's most famous African American. And then the last week, which will lead into the women's annual month, we're going to do a Black female who's a famous West Virginian to kind of get us ready to go.
Snookabuka? Yes, Snookabuka. I love it. I love it. I love it. So I'm excited. So you got a little preview for Valentine's week. We are going to do a little love story. Black love, Black excellence love story. And then we got the women that are going to come through at the end. I love it. I love it. I love it. Cole, did you know did you know all that?
I did know some of it. I did not know about the Frederick Douglass and Abraham Lincoln. That one was a good. I didn't know about that one, but I did know about the other ones, and I do agree. I like the way she did it because now I'm like, ooh, I'm like a little kid, but she like, yeah.
She's getting good at this TV stuff. Another thing I didn't know this personally, that Black History Month has themes every year. Like I just thought it's Black History Month. It's February. I didn't know that this year was the Black family. Like I didn't know that.
That's why she's Professor Montgomery.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. Like that's so lit. I love it. Love it. Love it.
Oh well, Snook, and I'll tell you. I'll give you some Connecticut stuff because I sent it to Renee. I don't remember if I sent it. I don't know which chat I sent it in, but it was because it got approved to put the African American history in the books for 2022.
Oh, Connecticut doing something good. Let's go. The rest of the state. Let's go.
Connecticut. Look, Connecticut is like my second home, so I couldn't be more proud that my second home is doing its the thizzle.
Okay, Paul. So you think that's a good thing, right?
Why would I say that if I? What do we?
How would you?
Why are you challenging me?
No, I just want to know. How do you feel about that?
What do you guys feel about that up in Connecticut?
There's been a lot of pushback about it,
Oh, I don't really care about like school stuff, so.
It seems to me, every year, we don't use the same history book year after year after year after year.
All right, like in college, I remember.
And then they
had to take like
want to use, and so it's not going to be a big deal. Like everything has to be done because every few years they change the history books they use anyway. So why not just go ahead and adopt the history book that has all of the history in it? I don't see the big deal about it. That's what I'm trying to.
Paul is for that. Basically, what she's saying is you are a supporter of having Black history included in all of history. That's the question. So it would have been a simple yes, I would think, Paul, right?
Yeah, I want like more modern history stuff.
I
Like,
agree.
like,
I
like,
agree,
like,
though.
I'm talking about like in college, like, I learned about like ancient whatever, like who, like what?
Yeah,
like,
I do think that
concept.
too. Like the history is being made, like 2020 is a very historic year. And just because it just happened last year doesn't mean that it shouldn't be in the history book. So I agree with Paulino on that. Yes, Snook, a book. Okay. I'm excited for Remote Roots for the next weeks to come. And now we're moving on. All right. All right. So I'm pretty excited. Earlier on the pod, we had Darius Butler, who is also one of my UConn homies. And now we have Glenn Morning. Met him at UConn as well, football player. And now he's a school teacher and he taught the past 11 years, grades 1 through 5, language arts. He also is a children's book author. And I want to get this right, Crunchy Life Kids series, right? So
Oh yeah.
oh yeah, and no, what I love about Glenn, he's one of those teachers that he does fun stuff in the class. Like, so I follow him on Instagram. Follow him if you aren't already. Fun stuff with the kids. He plays with them, makes school enjoyable. So of course, I had to have him come on here and be our teacher. You know that we do remote roses at the end of every episode, and so I thought, let's have some teachers teach us a little something while having fun. So Glenn is going to kick it off for us. Glenn, thank you for joining me and the Two Lit crew on Remotely Renee.
Yeah, no, thank you for having me jump on really quick. So it has been like a really awesome year. You know, the virtual learning platform is not as it's just not as, you know, impactful, I would imagine. But we still get to teach some really awesome lessons. I just wanted to throw that out.
No,
there.
you do that. No,
Yeah.
and tell us about that, because I want to hear, how is it like transferring it over from classroom to virtual? Like, what has been some challenges that you face?
Just in short, the biggest difference is that I don't care if you've been teaching for 20 years or if last year was year one. This year, unfortunately, starting in September was year one for everybody, you know.
Yeah.
So some of the things that you may have felt comfortable with doing in person, or, you know, your experience may have allowed you to be effective in one way or another. When everything went online and most places are starting to kind of trickle back in now with the vaccine and what have you. But when we went online, it was just figure it out, you know, wake up every day, be excited, be thankful that you're alive, and just try your best to connect with kids. You know, the internet is an issue across the country and especially in inner cities. But just showing kids, you know, that we care for them regardless, and just showing up every morning on the screen and just trying to make it as personable as possible, you know, but it's been tough.
Oh, I already know. Having kids on a Zoom, what? Come on.
Most of the time, all they do, they sign in and then they just be knocked out in a corner on the couch somewhere, acting like they logged into class, but they really be asleep.
Oh, Lord, Junior, you better not be doing that. Cole has a 7-year-old. Y'all better not be doing that, okay?
Cole Jr. be knocked out. All right, so look. So it was tough to decide on, you know, someone to actually share with you guys. Is it time for that really quick right now?
Yeah. Well, you don't tell us who it is, though. You tell us.
Just all the clues. I got you. I watched.
Okay, so yeah, we got our clip. Everybody got y'all's boards ready. We got our boards ready. We're ready to go. Okay.
All right. Hopefully my clues don't give it away so quick, but let's try it. All right, ready?
Get it.
So after losing his mother in an armed robbery back in the day, this former NFL running back spent much of his career helping single parents and their children. That's the first clue.
Okay, good. I'm glad we don't know it. I'm glad we don't know it yet.
All right,
looks
so
like he's busy.
I'm gonna go on to hint number 2 for y'all. Y'all ready?
Yep.
All right, so same dude, he rushed for over 1,000 yards in 3 straight seasons as a star running back at the Florida State University. Graduated in 1997, and of course, he was a 3-time All-ACC running back.
Oh my goodness, this is good. I like it.
Did he win the Heisman or not?
Don't answer.
I can't give that.
Don't answer.
right. So no,
Hit number three.
nothing yet. All right, we're going on to
Nothing
3.
yet.
All right. So he was selected 12th overall back in '97. He played for 2 NFL teams for a combined 181 games from '97 to '08.
Ooh, this is good. I don't know, but I like it.
All right, so this is the part that I like right here. If Renee already know, when I was at school, I was on the bench cheering from the sidelines. But here we go. This is the part I like though.
Great energy.
So he received the Giant Steps Award, which is for civic leadership from former President Bill Clinton for his community outreach back in '05, and he also received the Walter Payton Man of the Year award.
Okay. I'm trying to think. I'm mad. So Bill Clinton shouted him out, you said.
Yeah, and then also I believe it was even consecutive. He won the Walter Payton Man of the Year award before he actually retired. So that was.
This is a bad man. I like
it. What's killing me is he seems young. So everybody I'm thinking about is too old.
No, I don't think so. He we're talking 97 graduate. That's not young.
So he played for 12 seasons and he finished in '08. So I didn't graduate. We didn't even graduate until what?
09. Yeah.
So all right, this is the last one. And if y'all don't got it by now,
so you teaching us something though, because we're
great, because I'm like,
look, but if y'all don't got it by now, it's a wrap. So here's the last one. So in the aftermath of Hurricane Katrina, this just amazing person, he challenged all the NFL players except for the guys that played for the Saints to donate at least $5,000 towards the effort to help down in New Orleans, and they ended up raising $5 million in contributions.
Oh, I think I know.
I know. I just can't say. I can't think of the name.
Y'all doing good.
No.
That's
AJ
not
Watt. He's active.
Oh, I thought.
Yeah, and he finished. JJ Watt ain't no running back.
Yeah.
Oh, I forgot that part. Listen, I didn't write down all the hints. I just remember that somebody on the Saints recently did a lot for.
So he played for the Saints.
Oh.
No, he didn't.
I know who it is.
Oh, okay. Wait a minute. Vance and his.
Dude.
He's from down there though.
Sanders. Don't look at my thing.
Nah, that's not it.
So in FSU, who played for FSU?
Work done.
All right, there it is. Work done.
How did you get that? Paul, you Googled that.
I didn't.
So the biggest takeaway is the initiative that he's got going on right now, right? He's been buying homes for single parent moms for years.
Oh, really? Awesome.
I think I know about, somebody told me about this, I think. Now that you're saying that, I think I know exactly who you're talking about. Because he partners with different companies, right? And then gets these homes. Man, yes, Glenn. Okay.
Oh, wait a minute. Paul, you get a point. Paul got a point. We'll give him his point. Give him his props. But what tipped you off that it was work done? Because I did not.
I was just trying to think about who went to. I couldn't think of who went to Florida State.
And you knew that.
Oh, and then
Work done win the Heisman. I know you asked that. Did he?
Did he win the Heisman?
Nah, he didn't win the Heisman. I don't know who won it in '97. I think Eric Crouch won it in '97. I know Work done didn't win it though.
Okay.
Wow. Well, I thank you.
All right, Paul got a point. I'm the only person without a point right now. I think Mom got a point.
Yeah.
Paul got a point.
People don't usually get them right.
I think I got 2 points.
Oh yeah, Mom got, but no, because one of you cheated, Mom. We not getting that point.
You cheated on one.
You're not getting that one.
Hey, Paul, it was Charles Woodson in '97.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. That's who I thought you were saying at first. That's
yeah, Charles Woodson won the Heisman, but now Work done. He's just a great guy overall. I've never met him, but from what you read,
to Work done. These roses, you work done. Yes, thank you, I need to know what Warren's doing. Everybody needs to know real life heroes that are happening right now. And so that's so lit. And my
And
Snook.
don't wait till we lose them to say thank you. you know?
Yeah. Yeah. Give them the rose while they're alive.
And
That's
my
why that is
true. My hat's off to you because I taught online in a college setting, and I know how difficult it is to be interactive with students and all of that. And people always think that it's so much easier to teach online, which is really not. It's a lot more preparation and a lot of training. And so you all just went into teaching. We had to go through quality matters training and best practices and all of that. So you all were just kind of just dumped into it. So my hat's off to you for being able to do that.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, they talking about something. All right, y'all. Here go the link. Like, what?
That's probably why my son's teachers don't show up half the time anyway. I'll be like, you don't have class today. He's like, no, nobody, just open the link. And I'm like, it's tough, man. It's
But
tough.
I'll tell you, I sit and I listen to my son because I work from home and I'm in the other room. But the things that I hear these kids say, my son gets threatened every day. Don't you bet not get on here and say nothing to this. I threaten him every day. It's so cringe. You could tell the children who are at home, maybe with their grandparents or with a sibling, and then you can tell the ones whose parents is in the home because some kids I've never heard say anything crazy, and other kids I'll be like, oh my goodness, no, not this.
Their parents can hear them, yeah.
Ooh, yeah, because I hats off to not laughing because I know these teachers. My teachers give a straight face. I'll be in the other room crying, laughing. It's just. Hats off to you because that is hard. It's very hard. It's very hard.
Yes, Glenn. If I had any more roses, I would toss them to you. So we're giving roses back to the teachers, Paul. We're giving roses back to the teachers for teaching our kids. So I appreciate that.
Yay!
All right, well, listen, keep being an inspiration. This whole crew right here. I'm looking forward to seeing some more episodes, y'all. So I'm on it now. I'm watching.
Appreciate that. Thank you. And we'll be talking, but I'll be catching up with you. Just love what you're doing, Glenn. Thank you for stopping by.
All right, y'all. Have a good night. See y'all later.
See you later. Bye.
That was awesome. Okay.
Good.
So that was our first experiment, and it went. We had to get the times coordinated, call in at this time. I dropped the ball and I forgot to send his email to my crew. And so I was like, hey, what time is Glenn coming on? And they were like, what are you talking about? I thought you set that up. And I had a mini heart attack, but it worked out well. Paul got a point. I like that. And that's how we end every show. So that is the end of the show. But shouts to my UConn Huskies. Now, I'm telling you, when we say bleed blue, and I know you guys probably get tired of it, oh, UConn bleeds blue. Yes, we do. We bleed blue. And look at my peoples. Like, I went to UConn, like he said, we graduated in 2009. It's 2021. I had 2 UConn people on the episode today. And Pam Oliver today. So we're doing things. I'm excited. Shouts to my 2-lit crew, held it down for me as they do every week. Snookabuka looks way too professional for us, but that's why we need to get some classy brands along with it to match Snookabuka's fly. That's all we have for today. We'll catch you next week when we connect while being remote.